aware that there are lots of other access control platforms out there, various different shapes, sizes, and different levels. And it's very easy and very possible at the moment to use your existing access control platform, be it Paxton or whoever it might be, with their software, their controller, and simply using the same wiring and connections to add a Suprema reader onto that system and up the level of security straight away. So if you want to take people into fingerprint readers, facial recognition, mobile phone technology, which again we'll talk about in a minute, we can do that on the existing platforms. And that's probably our easiest and quickest way of getting into some existing clients. On top of that, on the right-hand side, we do our own full Suprema solution. And when I say that, I mean, we have our own software platform, which is called BioStar 2, which sits as a web-based user interface, but also then offers all of the added device. All of our devices can work on that. Now, one of the key differences here is that instead of in the situation on the left-hand side where you would have a door controller allocated to each door or a group of door controllers for a group of doors, we offer some smart devices where the actual door controller is built into the reader itself. So this can save you some time and effort, especially if you're looking at a sit-in stall that's tight and you don't have long cable runs, space to put door controllers. You've straight away got an option to do that. We can also offer a heck of a lot more, which on my next slide I'll sort of go into a bit more detail, because BioStar 2 becomes our platform to offer integrations into all sorts of third-party applications. So really we can build a really bespoke solution depending on what the client would like. So we're really interested in hearing from your customers, almost, in hearing what do they want to do, what does the end goal look like. We will then draw that back and put a Suprema solution together from BioStar 2, using the necessary add-ons with other people if needs be, or the different modules that we can offer to support that. I think another really key part of the BioStar 2 solution as well, to push it down our own route, is that we're well aware that margins within the security industry, particularly in some of the other areas, CCTV and intruder, and a lot of access control brands as well, have been hit very, very seriously. With Suprema, where you're offering something a little bit different to clients, particularly in the Irish market that might not be out there as much, we're giving you an option to maintain a lot higher margin on our product, which I'd really like to think is a really attractive proposition for everyone. So just as a really important thing for today, just to bear in mind that there are two ways to use our devices and our systems. Now I want to follow that up by just a bit of information on what you can do with our BioStar platform and our system. So the central point here, BioStar 2, is our software, our backbone to everything that we do. Now from that, we can run software development kits with third-party access control softwares, like I talked earlier about integrating with other brands to put our readers on their systems. We can do all that through an SDK. Integrations we have down the left-hand side, I'll show you a screen in a minute with some more of them, but there's some headlines there. We integrate with people like Milestone, Network Optics, NEDAP, Paxton and Genetec. On the API side, and this is something the timeware guys are really going to pick up on, there's really a lot of ways that you can take the core information that Suprema system and our readers provide to you, go and do all sorts of clever stuff with it. And I'll leave that to the timeware guys to talk you through in a minute, because it's a really, really powerful example of what we can do. Because when I'm talking about us listening to a customer and trying to understand exactly what they're trying to achieve, we can use an API. We're a very open platform as far as we're concerned, and we'll work with other partners to provide that solution. So I'd almost say to you that nothing is off limits. Talk to us first, and we'll put something together to help you out. So that's a really important one to remember, and I say we'll come back to that with the timeware guys in a bit. There's a few offerings. Now, the first thing I'm really going to note here is that our product range, which I'll take you through the products at the end, our product range is not massive. We have about 25 different products that we sell, which are kind of summarized on this screen, and we'll go into a little bit more detail in a minute. The main thing that we do at the moment is our hardware. Now, I've just talked a little bit about our software. Our software is very, very much medium range. It doesn't sit in the enterprise level space. So it's very good, robust access control with lots of possibilities to do a lot more with it. Our readers and our product is actually very much enterprise level. So we see ourselves as a very top end brand as far as product quality is concerned, product read times, failure rates, all that kind of stuff. So the top left hand corner there is probably about 80% of what we do, and that is providing readers and hardware for either our access control systems or third parties. We also have our own software platform and our mobile app for access control, which again we'll talk about in a minute. On top of that, we also do some other clever things. So we have our own 4-door controller, which gives you the possibility to run lots and lots of doors, up to 64 doors on one IP connection. Now, when you come to some of the bigger installs and bigger jobs that might come up, please contact us and talk to us. We'll talk you through with both our pre-sales team and maybe our technical team on how we can help maximize functionality and cost on a much bigger system. All of our readers will work on all of those systems as well. The main thing to take away from what I'm showing you here is the credential side of it, because I think that's where the Suprema story starts in terms of taking how you present yourself as an individual to the access control system, to what you can do with it. So traditionally, people have used card technology and PIN number technology, and I'd like to think that we'd all be in some sort of agreement that they're very good and very robust in the right environments, but in terms of high levels of security, all of us on this call now, we could all share the same PIN number quite easily. There's plenty of applications out there that use PIN technology, things like 24-hour gyms that are popping up all over the place. I know there's been several examples where multiple people within a household or a friendship group have used the same PIN number, which lowers the level of security, but also the level of revenue for a customer. So it's a consideration. Cards can easily be passed around, particularly in a busy environment. Someone forgets their card, I'll just borrow someone else's. If you're trying to use the system to be clever about who's allowed where, then the system can get compromised very quickly. So the areas that Suprema work on, we do those technologies absolutely are supported by our devices, but we also do very much more in the fingerprint technology. So it has to be your live fingerprint that opens that door. Facial recognition technology. Following the pandemic, we've seen a migration to much more contactless forms of access control. So people don't want to touch readers that people have been touching all along, even though we're still selling an awful lot of fingerprint readers. Facial recognition has come to the forefront, and I'd like to see us as market leaders in that area. We've also talked about mobile access, so making your mobile phone, your smartphone, your access control credential. So that's a simple form of downloading an app into your Samsung or Apple wallet. Your device the devices then read straight from your mobile phone. People are much less likely to leave their mobile phone at home or forget it than they are their card technology. We've also started doing a lot more QR code reads as well, which can be perfect for short-term lets. So something like an Airbnb solution where you've got lots of people and lots of short-term lets, instead of adding them as facial recognition users or fingerprint users on the device, issue a QR code, they can get in and out quite quickly. The same goes for one-off festival venues, stadium events, things like that. So basically we can deal with all of these areas, but that's probably the biggest message that we can put across as far as we're concerned and we can offer. Some of the things that might be considered over the time, we've heard all of the obstacles to why people should not use biometrics and why they like the comfort zone they're in with their access control cards and their PIN numbers. So basically, we hear it's too expensive, it's too difficult, and it takes too long. In actual fact, there are counter arguments that we've used day in, day out to put these through. Now, people are using, particularly the mobile phone technology, they're using it every single day. If you ask the average student or whoever, how do they access their banking? Straight away, they will do that from their facial recognition or their fingerprint on their mobile phone. They wouldn't even put their PIN number in. It takes too long, it's too difficult. So straight away, they are comfortable with using that technology straight away. As far as other things concerned, if you've got lots and lots of users, it's very easy for an application to go through a lot of access control cards very quickly. If you think of a university, for example, thousands of cards get issued every year, thousands of cards get lost every year. By putting them onto a biometric, a facial, or a mobile phone credential, you can actually cut down on that cost of cards, provide them with a really easy way to budget for their annual credential cost every year, straight away making things a lot more cost effective for them. The complexity aspect can be overcome. We can onboard users remotely. So without having to have a physical person turn up, get a card allocated to them, handed to them, it can be done virtually. So in terms of the onboarding users, again, if you think of the university aspect, a university takes on all their students' email addresses at the start of the year, uploads them as users on the system, sends out an email to each individual. They've all got their access control on their phones almost instantaneously without having that constant flow, and also taking up an employee's time to physically hand out cards one after the other, ordering more cards, spend a lot more money. So again, speak to us about these kind of things. When people talk about the reasons they've been against using biometrics and mobile technology in the past, things have changed, and actually there's a lot of benefits to it that we can help with. So that was just a slide really just to help you guys out a little bit when you come across these things, because we're aware they're out there, we can help. I mentioned earlier that about integration partners. Now I've just put a slide together, and again this will be shared with you just to give you an idea of the people that we are integrating with. And we're well aware that there are hundreds, thousands of access control systems out there that are installed, people are happy with, and people are going to use. The easiest way of us helping you guys, it might be that there are brands here that you deal with, or that your customers deal with that you don't deal with, that then gives you an insight to go and help them out. So by putting Suprema alongside some of these systems, you can instantly upgrade the level of security on an access control site, a time and attendance site, whatever it might be. We figure that every site has a need for a biometric or access control somewhere, even if it is just a server room, a cash office, a warehouse. That the value of goods, or the value of services, value of products in those areas really needs to ensure that it's not just anyone that's got a PIN number or been given a card or found a card that can get in there. So it's really important to share that message with people as to why they need to think about offering their clients these things. This is by no means an exclusive list, but I wanted to give you a flavour for who we deal with and what we do. Added on to that, just before I go on to just take you through very quickly our product range, this is really a one for thinking. So instead of, and we've had this conversation with the KD guys when we first took them on, if we just came in and gave the guys a box of kit to go and sell, it's very difficult to do that because that's what everyone else does. What we want to do is really think about who clients are and how we can use and how we can help them. So some of our main vertical sectors that we work in and we want to deal with clients in this area. So critical infrastructure, data centers, absolutely, you can't imagine there wouldn't be a need for biometric or facial recognition within a data center. Retail is a huge market, and I'm not just talking about the shops on the high street. Every retailer will have a distribution center. They'll have office space, as well as the sites they have the public going in and out of. It's very, very important as well. If you've got people that are going to multiple sites all the time, they want to amalgamate the access control in one area, but also raise the level of security on there. We're very, very confident that we can help in that. We've got examples where we have done straight away. You can increase productivity, increase convenience, particularly in a warehouse environment, and also cut down on the loss of goods through theft. Telecoms and luxury high rise. If you're working telecoms, there's R&D sites, there's office centers, office sites that would need this technology. Luxury high rise. If you've got people spending about hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds or euros on property, they come to expect a high level of security when it comes to getting in and out of the building and managing who can get in and out near their property. So absolutely, why not? The education sector I've kind of talked about a little bit already with the universities. We've got loads and loads of case studies, again, which we can share with you guys, where we've helped both from a staff point of view, a student point of view, both in schools and in universities, just because of the amount of turnover of cards, of staff that they have. All of these areas, security is heightened, especially with some of the things that have happened in some of these areas in the last few years. Enterprise customers as well. We've done work with football clubs, either on training grounds, in their stadiums, to help with their stewarding with time and attendance on match days. Gyms is another huge aspect of what we do. So some of the 24-hour gyms that have turnstile environments where people are walking in and out, it's a very good way of managing the flow of people in and out through a really quick system that makes sure it's the right person that goes in and out. And as I mentioned earlier, stops people sharing PIN numbers. So both from a point of view of, from a safety aspect, they know exactly who's in the building at any one time, should anything happen, and they need to do a roll call and get everyone out. But also from a revenue point of view, instead of a family sharing a gym membership, suddenly you've added 3 more users to your system and gained money from that way. So the cost of putting a system in can actually be made back very quickly. And these are the kind of messages to feed back to the end users in this area. Healthcare, again, is another huge one. So this is all food for thought, people. So medical cabinets, care homes, hospital wards. You really need to control who the flow of people are going around these places. There's a heck of a lot of loss in terms of theft of medical supplies and drugs straight away. By increasing the security on those areas, you do away with an awful lot of that. So just a bit of food for thought on who the type of people are that we should approach for business in these areas, because there is a need out there, and it's a case of us just putting that across to the customers that deal with these areas. So that's a bit about Suprema, and that's a bit about what we do and who we do it with. So the next aspect is going to take 5-10 minutes just to quickly talk you through our product range, what we do, and how we can help out. So the first thing, I've spent all this time talking to you about fingerprint, about facial and mobile phone technology. And the first thing I'm going to show you is a card reader. Now, you might ask why that is, but actually it's really important, because we do an awful lot of business in this area. All of our devices will read card technology, so up to DesVire EV3 cards. And all of our devices come with Bluetooth enabled on them. So straight away, instead of swapping out existing card readers, swapping card readers out, straight away you are future proofing by putting Bluetooth into a reader. We've had an awful lot of success selling these XPass readers that you can see on the screen now as well, against other companies that don't necessarily have stock. So we have tons of stock in the UK. We've had no stocking issues as far as supply chain is from Korea as well. So if people need an option, they need something, they can't get hold of it, speak to us, we can help out. We do 3 types. We do the mullion type, thin type, the gang box reader, and the gang box with keypad. So there's still a huge market out there for these. And the great thing here as well is that you can mix and match all of our readers. So you might have some doors, like I mentioned earlier, where you want to have facial on the front entrance, but then you're quite happy to stick with card access or mobile phone access throughout the rest of the building. You've got a really cost-effective way of doing it with our access control, with our XPass range. Then we move on to our fingerprint readers. Now we have external and internal fingerprint readers, devices, IP rated. All of these devices will read, as I said before, the RFID readers built in, so we can read the DesVire cards. We can also read the Bluetooth technology. We do have some readers as well, if people are using higher encryption access control cards already, that we can look at opportunities that can read those as well. Again, if people have got cards in place already, we like to know what they are and what the cards they're using are, and we can always test them to check that we've got the application that will read them as well. The beauty here is that you can offer a 2-factor authentication. You've got a very high level fingerprint algorithm sensor in there, as well as the option to use card and Bluetooth as well. So again, straight away by putting one of these in, you're upping the level of security. Move on to our BioLite Net N2, which again, very similar to the previous reader. We've got the same fingerprint device in there. We've got the ability to read cards. We've got Bluetooth built in. We've also got a screen on here and a keypad. So this is kind of our entry level, I guess, really into the time and attendance area, which will lead into what the timeware guys are going to talk about in a minute. Now, the screen gives you a very good ability for a user to make sure they have clocked in or they've clocked out, give them a bit more information. You've also got the keypad aspect if you want to go down and use that aspect of it. So again, taking it from the previous one, you've added a keypad and a screen in there, which can be very handy. Again, externally rated as well. So following on from that, we've got probably one of our main time and attendance devices, our X Station. Now, suddenly you've got a much bigger screen on there, which can be customized to how to offer some information, some company logo, some direction, whatever you want it to be. But straight away, again, it gives you an option where it's very obvious to a user that they've clocked in, they've clocked out. Again, the opportunity to read RFID cards. On the two versions on the right, there's a fingerprint add-on and a QR code add-on. So straight away, you've got other options to add on here. Again, we can also read mobile technology as well. So this is a huge one as far as access control, time and attendance, and a bit of visitor management is concerned, just by giving a bit more of a visual screen. We move on from that to our facial recognition. Now, I think it's really important for me to point out here, there are lots of facial recognition systems out there. We know lots of people do them. We really back ourselves that we can be best in class in this area. Few reasons for that. The speed of the read that you'll get, the failure, false acceptance rate you'll get is virtually non-existent. But the main thing to take away from this is, again, with the reader, you have the option to use card technology, to use Bluetooth technology, to use keypad. The main thing comes within our Fusion technology. So straight away, we offer a 2-camera system. So there's an IR camera and an optical camera within the device, which does something called fusion matching. So instead of just someone being able to take a 2D image from someone's LinkedIn profile or their Facebook profile, particularly in a student environment where people might think that's amusing to do so, it has to be the actual face there. It does some 3D mapping on your face. We call it fusion mapping. The 2 cameras working together to do that. Really, really important, because that means that you're only getting the person there that is in front of it. We've also done some work where it will work with people who've got COVID masks. And probably one of the most important things as well is we can remote enroll people into this system. So instead of having to have everyone turn up and get their face scanned by the system, we can do it. So as long as we've got their email address, we can get them to take a selfie on their mobile phone. The system will recognize them when they first approach the reader and get them to complete the enrollment process at that time. So straight away, you've got a very quick way of enrolling a lot of people, and also a very secure system. So this works very well for high security, but also convenience aspects. So if you've got things like warehouse applications where people are carrying lots of goods around with them, they get to a door, they have to put everything down, get their card out. The door can be opened by the time they get there if they're using a facial recognition system. With this system as well, you can also see there's a little camera module on the top of the device. That's a thermal camera, which was very hot at the start of COVID. We've not seen as much demand for that, but it's still there as an option if people want to use some thermal definition there. We also do a fingerprint module for this as well. So yeah, you've got plenty of options as far as that's concerned. So this is the Face Station 2. The last thing on the facial rec side is really our new Rolls-Royce product, if you like, that's recently come out. Something that we're really proud of. A lot of R&D time has gone into this, and it's our BioStation 3. Now, BioStation 3 takes everything that we've just talked about on Face Station 2 to the new level, really. Straight away, it's 47% smaller in size. So this is the size of an iPhone Pro Max, basically. You've got the same camera technology in there. You've got the same ability to read Bluetooth, to read mobile phones. The camera will also read QR codes straight away. So you've got that added onto it. You've got the Android user interface on there. So fully customizable screen. The big game changer we've got on here as well, we've also got an intercom built into it. So We can make calls to SIP phone systems, to mobile devices straight away. So without having to put in an expensive intercom system as well as an access control system, you can call up to 128 addresses from this one device. So straight away, you've got a unit that does everything that we've talked about before, but also gives the ability to communicate with someone internally, which can be great as an external entry point. Or if you want to have high security doors throughout the site, it gives you that option. We do two models. We do the basic model, which I've just discussed. We also do another version, which will read all of the higher level of HID encryption cards, but comes with PoE as well. So all you need is a network connection to power it over PoE. We also do a Wi-Fi version. So if you've got somewhere where you can't get a network cable out to it, but you can get a Wi-Fi signal to it, as long as you've got some local power, you can connect this onto the network via Wi-Fi. So it gives you a really versatile option. You can put a SIM card as well in it to give you connectivity as far as that's concerned. So a really, really powerful device. And we really see this as the future of access control. As it says at the top there, the Swiss Army knife, if you like, of it all. So something we're very excited about. I know the guys at KD are getting behind this as well. So really want to see that being pushed out there. The very last thing I'm going to talk to you about, I know there's been a lot of information taken on, and I say I will send all this through to you, is our mobile, a bit more about our mobile technology. All of the devices we've talked about so far have a Bluetooth technology built into them, so you can use your mobile phone. It's mobile ready. We've also got a very handy little device called an AirPod patch. Now, the AirPod patch is just a little square device that you can see in the top right-hand corner. It's about an inch by an inch square plastic device that sits on any existing MyFair reader. And what it does, it harvests the power from that reader, takes an NFC or Bluetooth signal from NFC or Bluetooth from an Android or Bluetooth from iPhone, takes that signal, converts it into an RFID read on the reader. So straight away, by adding one of these devices, just sticking it onto the reader, you can make any existing MyFair reader into a mobile ready reader. Really powerful, really simple, and a really good way of just breaking down or someone taking a baby step into using mobile devices if they don't want to go the whole way without swapping all of their devices out. Really, really simple. Then, like I say, we do with that, you get an AirPod portal with it, which gives you the ability to allocate mobile credentials to individuals. And as far as the mobile credential world is concerned, we have a couple of ways of pricing this. So the very simple way on the right-hand side is our regular, right, which is pretty much where you as an installer or as the business would buy a mobile credential per user. So basically, exactly the same way as you buy a card, you allocate that to each user, off you go. One card, one cost for it. We also do a dynamic product model, which can work really well if you've got an example like a gym. So if a gym had thousands and thousands of users, it could get quite expensive to use a regular model and have to buy more and more cards, which is kind of what we're going completely against. So we can work out a cost based on the number of devices they've got and give them an annual charge, basically, where they can have unlimited number of cards. So if you've got a gym that has two 4 readers in and out, basically doors to get people in and out, we can work out costs. So we can say to them, or university would be the same, where actually they would pay, say, £5,000 a year for unlimited credentials to have. We'd work out very much on a case-by-case basis. That was just an example, but it really gives you the ability to them to budget as well as they can without, if you've got a gym that was going to use a card facility, they'd be spending thousands and thousands of pounds replenishing cards all the time, whereas actually you're taking them into the future. They've got the ability to remotely issue them and they don't have to worry about the number they're going to do. So again, when it comes to mobile technology, talk to us. It's really, really straightforward as far as we're concerned. We can make it work in almost any environment. So just a couple of thoughts about there are multiple ways of us doing that. So as far as I'm concerned, that's Suprema. I know that's been a really whistle-stop tour as far as we're concerned. I'd like to just say thank you. We'll take some questions at the end where needs be. And I'm just going to take you back to a slide that we looked at earlier, which is going to hopefully link really nicely into the timeware guys now, who are going to talk to you about how you can take the information that we've gathered and put it into some clever stuff from their point of view. So thank you very much. I hope that's been of use. And yeah, we will move on with the guys from timeware, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Gareth. Thanks. Hello, everybody. My name is Simon Birchall. I'm the managing director of a company called Timeware UK Ltd, and we have got about 36 years experience in the time and attendance market. So we've been developing software and installing systems around the UK and West Africa for not far off 40 years now. And what is timeware software? Well, there are in simple terms, timeware is a time and attendance software. It calculates the time that people the time that people spend at work. It's an easy way of describing it. And there are two versions of this software. There's a small business version and there's a professional version. And the difference between the two is the number of employees. So the small business version can handle up to 150 staff, and the professional version is unlimited, and the professional version can also be customized. Okay, now Gareth mentioned the link between BioStar and timeware, and if you can imagine, when you install Suprema hardware, the BioStar software is used to configure the hardware, and it's also used to collect data that's gathered, events, if you like, access events that's gathered by the hardware. If you can imagine, that information sits in a database, and we can access that information, and we can turn some of those events into attendance bookings. So say, for example, you've got an access control system using, let's say, the W2 readers around a building. What you might then decide to do is have one of the devices with a screen, because people like to see the name when they make an attendance booking. So what you would do is have, let's say, one of the X stations or the new BioStation 3, and that will be mounted as an attendance point. So people use the access devices to get through doors, and they would make a booking at an attendance point, and all that information is stored within BioStar. And then timeware can access that data, and not only can it access that data, but we can set people up in BioStar. So lead on to the modules that are included in timeware. So we, Mike, would you like to call the software screen? Okay. So what we'll talk about here is, I'll start off with the to-do list. So timeware is a proactive system. It gathers information and it presents it to the user. So if you've got a customer that's interested in time and attendance, this product is good in that it gathers information and it presents it. So it presents exceptions. So let's say, for example, somebody's not turned up for work, presents that on the to-do list. If a manager hasn't approved overtime before the payroll deadline, presents it on the to-do list. Let's say somebody has not, let's say somebody's off ill, presents it on the to-do list. So the to-do list is a go-to point. It's the key part of the system, you like, the hub, where all the exceptions are highlighted. Okay. Now, if we go into personnel, Mike, please. So included in timeware, now this isn't an HR system, we call it a personnel system. It's like a personnel database, and you often find that customers have they store information about the staff in Excel files or paper files, and this is a way of combining everything and putting it into one place. And well, it looks quite daunting with a lot of options on there. A lot of our customers don't use all of these features. So we've got some customers who use all of these features because they don't have an HR system. people that do have an HR system might just use a few of these features, but it's a good step up from a paper system or Excel spreadsheet. What's important with the BioStar integration is that when you set a new employee up on this system, it automatically sets them up on the BioStar system. So that's the direction. You set people up on here, and it sets them up in BioStar. And so the sort of things that we can do in the personnel system, we've got ways of grouping people, sort of departments maybe. We've got things like personal information, next of kin. We can store documents about people. So let's say, for example, you need to keep a copy of your driving license and maybe keep a record of how many points somebody has on a license. That can be stored in this system. So although this is a time and attendance system, it's a lot more than that. You get a lot more bang for your buck, if you like. So personnel is quite detailed. Now within the personnel system, there are then links to the attendance rules. Okay, so again, go back to BioStar. We've captured, the BioStar system has captured the attendance booking. So let's say Mike arrives for work at 9 o'clock in the morning. There would be a record stored within BioStar that's automatically pulled up into the timeware system and is made available to his manager. So let's say that's me. And so if he arrives at 9 o'clock, he's not late, he wouldn't appear on an exceptions list. If he did appear late, I can have an email sent through to me, or I could have an item on the to-do list. So if we look at let's go into a daily schedule, Mike, if we can.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, okay. So what's important, this particular screen is part of the configuration. So we set this up for the customer. We would set this up for your customer, and at the very end, I'm going to explain what we do, and we do as much as we can to help set the system up. But I want to show this screen because it allows me to talk about some of the complexities that you have within a daily schedule or a period schedule. So we would talk to the customer about exactly what the rules are at their company, and we would build the rules up, and we apply those rules to a daily schedule, and we apply daily schedules to a period schedule. So you can have any type of work pattern, whether it's a 4 days on, 4 days off, a standard work pattern, flexi time, all that can be built into the system. And we set that up for your customer. That's part of the service we provide. And then the booking that's been made at BioStar, the 9 o'clock booking, gets processed. And the system knows that, Mike, if you just clear the daily schedule screen out of the way, let's have a see there. Your daily schedule starts at 8 o'clock, so you're late. Is that right?
Yep.
At 9 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So on that, you were late for 9 o'clock. So the rules are all the rules are. It's a very important part of the system where we gather the information from the customer, we set them into the system, and then the calculation engine processes the BioStar data against the rules. And then if you move to an adjustment screen, please, Mike. So what the customer would see will be a screen like this, where you've got individual bookings that have come from BioStar, they're processed against the calculation engine, and totals are calculated. And it's this screen that managers may go into to authorise overtime, to approve lateness, that type of thing, before the data is passed through to before it's approved for passing through to payroll. Yeah. So that's the attendance side. Now, of course, people have holidays and people are off sick. So included in the system is an absence management module. So again, Mike, if you could call that for me, please. Okay. So what we have here is, let's talk about holiday entitlement first of all. So the system can be programmed to have different holiday entitlements for different groups of people. So let's say Mike's entitlement, what is that, 30 days allowance for the year. When Mike wants a holiday, he would put his holiday request in. There's a number of different ways of doing that, but put a request into a line manager or an HR department, and that person then has to approve the holiday. And the way we do that, because we can set rules up within the company, is through the absence management screen. So if you could just go into actually booking a holiday. So let's say you were requesting a day off. You pick a day, Mike.
14th of December.
Right, 14th of December. So as we go into the screen, the system knows what else is happening around there. So let's say, for example, let's say there's a rule. Mike's in the projects team. Let's say there are 3 people in projects, and you can't have more than 1 person off on the same day. Those rules, again, information we obtain from the customer, are built into the system, and we can make sure that, say, minimum staffing levels are always met. A better example might be forklift truck drivers. So if you've got people with different skill sets within the organisation, then you don't want all your forklift truck drivers off on the same day. If you've got deliveries arriving, this system helps you to keep a track of that. Also, if let's say Mike asked for some time off, let's say in 2 months' time, and it was decided that that was going to be declined. The system will keep a track of that declined request. When that day arrives, if Mike decides he's going to try and pull a fast one and pretend he's ill that day and ring in sick, the system can remind us that actually he requested this time off and it was declined. So it can also highlight trends. If people are always they're always ill on a Monday. If they're always ringing in sick the day after maybe Manchester United have played away, something like that, could be highlighted on the system. Well, we can put key dates into the system, and it can bring that information to a manager's attention. So there's holiday entitlements, and then there's the sickness side of the system. That's quite detailed. Now, when an employee comes back to work, the system will go as far as preparing a return to work document. So if that's what the customer wants, that's built into the system as standard. Okay. So let's move on to the reporting side now. That's okay, Mike.
Yep.
So all this information is stored in a SQL database. By now we've gathered the data, pulled the data from Biostar, and it's now in the timeware database. And we can use the dashboard and reporting module to display the information that's been calculated. So Mike, if you want to go into an attendance report, so we'll just run the report to start with. What we do, we've got a number of ways of outputting this, but let's output it to an Excel format, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And
so this is a grouped one. So this is an Excel grouped report, and it's showing different employees that belong to different departments. So it's giving the user a view of how many hours have been recorded against each department. So if I go in, for example, to the general office, these people have accumulated in total 149 hours, and they're the individual hours that the system's calculated.
And what's the benefit of producing the report in Excel format, Mike?
It can be easily manipulated, and every user in the world's really familiar with Excel, so it makes sense. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, and if we don't want a customer, if we didn't want an employee to manipulate the data, we produce it in PDF format.
We could do, yeah.
Yeah, so that's uneditable then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go back to the report module again, just want to highlight some of the flexibility of the reports. If you go into the setup of a report, please.
Yep. Anna, do you want me to go into
Let's go to a clock card.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So would you talk us through just the various options that we got, please?
Yep. So because this is a weekly clock card, it shows a working week. So you can, for example, you can select the current week, which would show this week, or you could do the previous week, which would do last week, or you can actually do a target period. And that means you can select any week, and you can go back 10 years if you wanted and select that date range. So you've got full control of what range you're trying to pull out. The second screen within it is the employee range. So from this screen, I've got full control of which employees will be displayed on this report. So for example, I may only want a certain department, so I can select on the filter at the top, and I can select certain departments. So if I select production, there's 423 employees going to be included on this report. I could then go even further on it, and I could select just a certain schedule. So I just want to see the 8 till 4:30 schedule, and then if I did that, for example, that would just be showing the 131 staff. Okay.
So it's the setup of the report is extremely flexible and included a standard in this package in both the small business and professional. How many reports are there now, Mike?
136 is standard.
Okay.
And then
I'm sorry, go on.
there is a little bit more. So before the actual report's generated to Excel, as a user, I can select how it sorts the report. So I can actually sort it, for example, by department order. I could sort it by last name if I wanted. So I've got full control over it. And then where this is even more useful is we can, if it's, for example, it's a bad example, this one, but if I go, for example, onto a personnel report, I can actually select what fields are going to be brought out from the system. So, for example, on this report, it's going to show every field in timeware to do with personnel, but some of them may be not relevant from what you want to see on the report. So I can actually select from the report properties and remove them fields, and they wouldn't be generated on the report.
So it's very flexible. Should we just quickly go into dashboards?
Yep.
Show an example dashboard.
Yep. Is there anyone? Sure. I'll
just pick one at random.
Okay.
You choose one. It's just to show that there's we also have graphical representations of the data. So this is starters and leavers report.
Yeah.
So we can highlight the numbers of starters and leavers in a certain date range.
So you can use the slider at the bottom to select the date range, and the data above changes based off this range. So this is a report that's showing starters and leavers. So I've actually had no starters and leavers this current year over this period, but last year these are the starters and leavers I've had. What I can do then is all our dashboards are standard have a companion report, and this companion report shows more detailed information. So it may show the name of the employee and the reason why they left.
So the reporting module and the dashboard and report module it produce reports for all the other modules that are in the system. We have should we close that down now? Go back to the main screen. We can also cover GDPR and the working time regulations. So I just described that with the GDPR side. When somebody leaves the company, all non-relevant information can be cleared from the system. So, for example, let's say Mike resigns. The holidays that he has booked in the future would be removed at the point that he leaves. Also, any biometric data that the connection to Biostar then will say that he's left. But he's left the company, so the biometric data would be removed from the Biostar system. Any historic information will be kept for a certain number of years, and we that's determined by the customer. So non-critical information is deleted. In terms of working time regulations, the system has working time regulations feature built into it. So if you decide you want to use that, it can advise you if people have worked. If they are approaching the thresholds to breach the working time regulations, and that's a real-time view. So it's not a case of running a report and seeing that somebody's worked more than 40 hours. It'll actually warn you when that's going to happen. Okay, and the very end result then. So if we've gone from somebody making a booking at a buyer station 3. The end result, once it's been processed, is passing that information to payroll, and we're a Sage developer. Timeware is a Sage development partner, and we have an official integration into Sage payroll, and that is the full cycle then, from making a booking all the way through to the hours worked. And the last bit of the software that I want to describe is that we do have a mobile app, and it's an app that allows the employee to check what shift they may be allocated to. They can see the hours that they've worked on previous weeks, and they can make holiday absence requests, leave requests through the form. So that would be, instead of maybe using a paper system in the office. Okay, now this is a business critical application, and you can imagine there's an awful lot of setup, and there's when a customer wants to change the rules, having customers make changes to the system is not a good idea. So what we offer is something called a managed service. And if I can just describe now, we've actually created a page. If we'll send this out to everybody afterwards, but there's a website called timeware.info. And when you go to .info, you'll see the KD Electronics logo. If you click on there, it will take you through, and it will describe the actual sales process and touch on the managed service. So if we talk about the sales side of it, first of all, if you have a customer who's interested in time and attendance, it's really straightforward. Just get in touch with us and we'll do the demonstration over Teams with you involved, obviously, but we'll do the full demonstration. And we can, obviously, we'll work together initially to find out exactly what the customer's interested in, and we can tailor the demonstration accordingly. So we're happy to do that. That's one of the features that we offer. When it comes to quoting the customer, obviously you're going to quote them, but we will prepare the paperwork that the wording that you would need for that quote. And after you've done a few of these, you'll be seeing it's the same wording that we're going to use, but we don't want you to have to. We're going to use the quotation system that we've used for our own customers, and that should help. You'll place your order with KD Electronics, and that would be for the Suprema equipment and for the timeware software. But when it comes to installation, again, we will do that for you. So the installation, it's not just installing the software and walking away or training somebody. It involves a whole process of pre-installation meeting with the customer, going through the requirements from personnel, the requirements from the attendants, the absence management side, what reports they want setting up as standard. And we do all that for you. That's part of the package. At the very end, we'll train people. If we can do it via Teams, we prefer to do it. If we've got to do it face to face, we can do that. It's not a problem. And then when it comes to supporting the customer, we'll do that as well. So if the customer has got a problem, because this is business critical and it's all tied in with payroll, people need responses very quickly. And so we are quite happy for the customer to contact us and be part of the sort of the fault logging system that we have for the customers, for all of our other customers. As part of the managed service, if your customer has a new member of staff join, somebody leaves the company, they've got a new person joining, the training is free, it's included in the system price. If they introduce a new shift pattern, so let's say, for example, business is good, they expand, they introduce a night shift, they put in a change request into the support department, and we can configure the system, have a chat and find out what they need and set the shift up accordingly. And it's a far more professional approach than trying to train a customer to perform an action that they're going to do once a year and get wrong and then generate a support call. So we've worked over the years, that's the way we've done it. And the 1 year support is included in the purchase price of the software. Mike, can you think of anything that
just the mobile app works with multiple languages, doesn't it, as well?
It does. It does. The actual software itself is on premise. This is not a cloud package. Cloud is coming soon, but this is an on-premise solution. However, the employee self-service mobile ESS Go, that is multi-language. Okay. I think if there's anything else that I can mention, again, just touching on the Suprema hardware. If your customer already has a Suprema device in operation, we could use the information that's gathered from that. Got to remember, if that's on a turnstile or on a door, then if people are using that to gain access to a certain area of the building, that's going to generate lots and lots of attendance bookings, and that's not good. You really need a dedicated device, dedicated attendance point for the start of the time and attendance solution. Okay, so we'll make sure everybody gets a reminder of the web address, and if anybody's got any questions, I'm not sure we're going to do this. I think that's the end of the software side. Is that okay?
Same for me, guys. If anyone's got any questions on the Suprema stuff, I'm happy to take anything. Stephen, I don't know if you want to facilitate that or anyone do it.
Have we,
No.
have we sent everybody to sleep?
Hey everybody, how's things?
There he is.
Is it going?
Oh, sorry. Listen, how's everybody? Like, thanks very much for that introduction to Suprema and timeware. I know I learned a lot of stuff on it that I hadn't before. So listen, I'd just like to thank everybody for their time and their effort of putting into the webinar. Also, to let you all know, you can share it with your customers. We'll have it on our YouTube channel. We'll break it probably into a few sections and time market and time stamp it and things like that. So we'll be able to share it with everybody. But listen, thanks again for all your time and effort that you put into it, and look forward to working with you again in the future.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys. Happy Friday. See you later.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Bye.